Well, let's see. Today is Tuesday. And from the title, you know I'm going to talk about money, right? And what you do with it. Is it good or bad? What was the intent? Well, let's look into it a little bit. You know, it's been brought to my attention, some people don't know the reality of gift giving. And if you give a simple gift like a basket of flowers, usually it's a gift of love or somebody that you really like a lot, and you're trying to beautify maybe their house with it, or it's their favorite flowers. You're wanting them to know how you feel about them. That's why you gave them a gift. But why is it if instead you decide to say, you know what, I'm going to give that person $25 and let them buy any gift they want? Well, they look at the flowers and they don't ask any questions. But then the dollars, it's a whole different story. Because you've given them the power of deciding what the gift is gonna be. And you worry about it for some reason. Well, if you do, you shouldn't have gave it in the first place. And then you got a person that wants to collect to improve on something they have. Let's say it's a charity. They need a new parking lot, or it's not a big deal, right? Church parking lot, maybe. School. Maybe some new gym equipment. Well, so you hand it over. And a month goes by and the improvement didn't happen, and now you're worried. Because you gave something. You don't see anything happening. So right away you're thinking bad thoughts. Well, you shouldn't. Some things take time. Now, if you want to ask them, say, is it still on? And they say yes, well, then that should satisfy your question, right? If you say, well, when? And they give you an approximate, well, that should satisfy it. If they want to see the money, well, that's a little tough to do if it's in the bank, right? It's not in your hand. You didn't get it that way. It came through the bank. Anyway, sometimes when we accept cash, we expect a different avenue of responsibility for the money. We don't ask them if they put the flowers in a vase. We ask them if they like the flowers. But we don't go any further in thinking about it. But if it was cash, there's this thing in our mind saying, what did you spend it on? Did you just put it in your pocket? You know, I wanted you to buy flowers with that. Anyway, like I say, there's a different expectation of money, real money. People worry about money. And if they do, they shouldn't even give anything out. But they think of it in the wrong context. You ever notice that? Cash. There's strings attached to cash that you would never attach to a basket of flowers. Why is that? Sometimes it might be a nosy neighbor saying, my goodness, what'd you do with all that money? Well, I'm going to do something with it. But what are you going to do? Well, that's none of your business. And then all of a sudden, everybody in the block is pissed off. Well, you received a gift of money, now we don't know what you did with it. And you look at it and say, so? See, cash, for some reason, it gets everybody's attention because they all want some cash. Now, the flowers is a whole different story. Some of them are allergic to them, or they just don't give a darn whether they have flowers on the dining room table or not. They don't care. but they'd like to have the cash for it. So they're nosy. And then they get to thinking about, well, why should you get money and I don't? But they don't think the same thing about the flowers. Because like I say, they didn't care about the flowers, only the money. Expectations. Well, you know, if you have a lot of money, you worry about getting more money. You look at it and you say, well, I've got $1 million. But I need more because I need to maintain that. Next week I got to spend $100,000. I need more money. Give me more money. Well, what'd you do with that other $100,000? Well, that was for me to spend. Don't worry about it. I gave it away. Give me more money so I can give some more away. Oh, Lord. You know, some people, they walk up to a stranger and they put $2 in their pocket and then they watch to make sure what they're doing. He walked into the liquor store and he comes out with a bottle and you run right over there and you say, did you buy whiskey with that? And the guy opens up the bag and there's a Coca-Cola. He was thirsty. Do you feel bad about it, or do you feel justified in giving the money at that point? Well, how would you feel if it was a bottle of vodka? Would it make a difference? I mean, when you gave him that money, that panhandler, what in the heck did you think he was going to do with it? If he's going to go out and get drunk, he's going to get drunk, that's all. Yeah, once you give something away, it's pretty hard to... let's say you told this guy that you said that you can have this money, but you can't buy alcohol with it. You can't buy any booze, and I want you buying cigarettes. And the guy's dying of thirst, and you know he's having a nicotine fit, and he looks at that money, he looks at you, and you know it's kind of like, oh yeah. Then off he goes. He got it. But you should have known about it ahead of time. I mean, what did you expect? So, there again, don't give unless you can freely give without strings. There's no reason for it. What kind of a thing can we say? Let's say, I'll give you a good example. What about if you gave to United Way and you found out they gave to a foreign entity that used it to make bombs with? You'd be upset, wouldn't you? Well, things like that can happen. I know they can happen. The United States gave money for help for medical supplies and food supplements and things like that, and it was used to make rockets. Now you're going to tell me I'm a liar, but I'm not. I'm telling you, that's the truth. That's what's happened. I'm not going to go into semantics about it or tell you where it was, because quite frankly, I'm not going to sit here and have the naysayers, bring me proof, bring me receipts. I'm not going to do that. If you don't like the story, don't listen to it. Okay? Money. Why are we so worried about money? You know, over the years, as I've handed different things out, finances or gifts, I didn't ask him to give me a lowdown on it till every penny was spent or how long it lasts. I gave it to him, and it made me feel good to give it. I wouldn't give it if it didn't make me feel good. Now, if they spend it in the wrong place, that's on them, not me. They're the ones who will have to answer to the Lord for what they did with the money, not me. You see, my reward was in giving, and that should have been enough. Now, if that's not enough for you, then you're giving for the wrong reason. Oh, I know. You're good. This is an uproar now. Ray's saying, give blindly. Don't worry about it. Once it's gone, it's gone. Well, actually, that's what I am telling you to do. Don't give if it's not free. If you're going to put a bunch of strings on it, Don't give it. Just walk away from it. That's the best advice I can give you. You're going to feel better. If you have to give and worry about it, why did you give? It's causing you a heartache. I'm asking you. That's a real question. Things like that have happened lately, and it makes me wonder about the giver. You know, and I've given some lately, and I put in there's no strings. Because I don't want to feel obligated just because out of the goodness of my heart that I felt that it was okay. I don't want you don't have to account for nickels and dimes, or if it was hundreds of thousands, you would not have to account to me, because once I gave, it's gone. And I wouldn't have done it if I didn't feel good about it. It makes me feel good when I give, and that's as far as it's going to go. I'm not going to trace every nickel down and feel like an ogre about the whole thing, because it's like a contract. I don't want to feel bad about it. If I made a mistake, it's my mistake, that's all. But if I gave, it's between the Lord and me, why and where I gave. It is absolutely nobody else's. No, I'm not obligated to explain, and I won't. Expectations over money is unrealistic. Like I say, a basket of flowers and nobody thinks anything about it. But to give somebody what a basket of flowers costs, everybody's worried about it. Everybody in the block. Why didn't they get the money? They worry about the flowers, right? A gift is a gift. That's what it is. If I gave you that pickup back there and said, it's yours for the taking, I hope he does well by you. And you go to the end of my driveway and you're on the phone and you found a buyer for it and you delivered it to him. And I'm going to worry about it because I gave you a gift for a vehicle to drive and you sold it. I could have sold it and had the money in my pocket. What difference does it make? If that's worth $1,000 and I give it to you and you sell it for $1,000, what difference is it if it was cash when I gave it to you or that old truck? What's the difference? Are you saying it's the intent? Why should I worry about it? You know, sometimes I wonder what people are thinking of, and the expectations may not be the same as a person that's sitting across the table from you. Be careful. Be very careful. And if you're the receiver of something, be very careful, because the act of you receiving it and then not receiving it in the manner that the person that gave it to you could make you an enemy. And you didn't do anything wrong. You received it. All you did was accept it, and you're in the wrong. How can that be? What if I gave you, let's say, a half of a cow, all butchered up, and you brought the neighbors in, and you handed out to all the neighbors, said, here, I want you all to have a piece of this. I got this yesterday. And I'm over there across the street, and I watched you hand out all the goodies. And now I'm mad at you because I gave you something and you gave part of it away. It isn't any of my business what you do with it after I give it to you. That's up to you. And I didn't tell you you couldn't give it away. Now, you get a lot of people that are happy. The person you gave it to, most of that block is happy with him because he gave him something. But he may have said, look, I got a gift from him, and I'm going to share it. Well, they're happy with him, but they're happy with you too, because you provided a gift that kept on giving. Now, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. But here's the thing. You gave something to that guy over there you felt that he needed, and he felt that he gave it out because he thought they needed it. And the Lord knows that both you and him acted in good faith with each other and with your neighbors. And as long as there's no hard feelings, it was a very good gift. But as soon as you get mad at your neighbor for giving it away, well, it's almost like ringing the bell, your own bell. It is no longer a gift after that point. You expected something back for it. Oh, I don't know. Some of you won't understand how this story has bearing out there, but it does. It is a feeling when the bearer of a gift gives it away. At that moment, and you take that deep breath and you say, oh. And a week later, you have remorse over it because you say, well, I don't think they spent it the way I wanted them to spend it. Now you're mad, and you go over there and you say something to them. Whether you get it back or not, you just stepped on something you shouldn't have. You ruined the whole thing about it. Ruined it for you. You ruined it for them. No. What I'm telling you is, if you ever decide to give something away, let it go. It's gone. If you receive a gift, don't feel bad about it later if the other person shows remorse over having given you something. They give it to you. Part of it is it made them feel good at the time. But later on, if they have remorse over it, it's something they'll get over. Don't let it spread to you. Well, that's my lecture for the day. Some of you are going to be mad at me because of my feelings about gifts or money in general. This thing here, so many people have said, they don't know why I didn't monetize it or why I didn't monetize it and just give it the money away. Because it's an obligation. When I do that, I retired because I wanted to lessen the obligations. I was ready to relax, retire, have a good time like I did when I was a child. That's what I wanted to do. I earned it. But I don't want to go on the rest of my life working. And as soon as I monetize something like this, I'm back to working again. If I walk away from here in 5 minutes, that's no big deal. But if I was trying to raise money on here and I had a goal to set, and I wanted to be out of here at, let's say, 1:15 the hour, and I'm working here because I obligated myself to a certain amount of money or a certain time. Why would I do that? I'm retired. If I wanted to do something like that, I would have kept on working. That's why. And enough was enough. Well, when we go out there and we set these different obligations for people in our mind, we should tell them how we feel about that obligation before we give it. What do we expect? Then if we expect that and it don't happen, you've learned, right? Well, on the other hand, what if you give because you want some kind of an obligation back? Pat on the back? Well, there you go. There, that's for you. Did it make you feel better because I patted my back, but it was for you, okay? So now you got it. So if that's all you needed, well, I hope you're happy. I hope I sent you your way and you're all happy about it. It's as simple as that. Listen out there. For everybody that's so doggone mad and so upset with each other, and you just feel so obligated, take a deep breath. felt good. Wow. Holy mackerel. Man, that felt pretty good. Wow, there's nothing like a deep breath. You know, that felt better than, a long time ago. Well, I don't know, somewhere around 20 years ago, I probably took my last drink. It was a long time, way before I retired. But I can remember a cold beer after a day of work felt so good. A deep breath under time of stress feels as much or better than that drink did after work. And I used to love to have a mug of beer and the mug was put into the freezer, and they bring it out and they pour beer in there, and the frost on the side would come up, and you had like little lumps of ice in your beer. You take that big drink, hot summer day. Oh, how that felt. When you work construction, things like that, they're just great. You have to be careful you don't take too many of them, but that first drink, that felt so good. But deep breath under stress will do the same thing for you. So all of you out there that are so upset because of monetary things, stop worrying about it. What you do, you do. If you don't like it, don't do it again. And if you can, take a deep breath. Slow it down. Enjoy life. It's there. Life itself is free. The Lord gave it to you the day you were born. Gave you the breath of life. Rejoice in it. Take a deep breath. It's a free gift to you. I learned it a long time ago. And it does. It really feels good. So, stop worrying about little things. If you let money grow into something too big, you can never, ever, ever enjoy life again. Leave it alone. Walk away from it. I hope I give you some good advice. I'm not trying to enforce a different type of life on you or style or anything like that. I'm just trying to share with you how I do things. Not that I expect you to do everything like I do. Lord knows we don't need a bunch of old people walking around taking deep breaths and wondering where they're at. Actually, I know where I'm at. I'm in a place called Ray's Garage. Let's see. Oh, yeah, somebody said I get kicked out here all the time. It's actually the opposite. My wife sometimes gets upset because I'm out here doing something like this or working on a project and spending too much time. So when am I going to see you? What if I got to put my name in a list or something? And it's never my intent that way to not notice her when she wants to be noticed. I get accused of a lot of things. It's a good thing, I guess, that people feel good about doing stuff like that. It makes them feel good to tear somebody else down, I guess. And, have at it, I guess. There's nothing I can do about it. Take the deep breath, have a good time. The air is free. The good Lord gave it to you the minute you were born. And let's hope that your life was worth living the day He comes a-knocking and asks for it back. With that, now you know what John says at the end of conversation? He says, ta-ta.